Hello everybody, how's it going? It's me, Crendor, and today we're doing something a little special. So a couple years ago, as you might know, I got my gallbladder out. You may have heard of it on multiple sources, such as pretty much everything I've been on. I've talked about it on YouTube, I've talked about it on Twitch, I've talked about it on Cox and Crendor, I've talked about it on the podcast I did with Nixxiom. And speaking of Nixxiom, that's the reason I'm doing this little video. So back then, he made a video for me because I talked about how I really like ASMR. I really like just kind of nature. I like more nature style ASMR, right? So like the crackling of a fire, being outside, the wind, crickets, you know, that type of thing. And so he made a video where he was outside by a fire and he was drinking whiskey and smoking a cigar and just kind of just chilling out, talking and having a good time. So he also had gallstones. And so I said, you know what? When you get your gallbladder out, I will make you a video, my style, right? I'll make you an ASMR wine drinking video. And so, I'm already ready. I've got some wine, and I'm going to stay true to my word. I'm going to make this nice, chill ASMR video, and we're just going to talk. We're just going to have a good chat. We're just going to have a fun time. But first things first, get better Nixxiom. I take it you're watching this. I'm making it for you. We're going to talk about wine. Today, I am drinking Thorn. This is a Merlot, a Napa Valley 2016 Merlot. As you can see, I'm using my amazing green screen app. This is a good wine. It's a pretty good wine. It's not like $100 or anything, but it's like $33. So I mean, it's pricey for a normal wine, but I figured this is a special occasion, right? We might as well go all out. I have had my fair share of nice wines, though, so I wanted to talk about wine, essentially, because in our last podcast, we were actually talking about types of alcohol we've drank and cigars and things like that, and I brought up wine and how I really enjoy wine, and I think it'd be fun to actually talk about it for a bit. So we're in the tavern. We've got the fire crackling back here. And, yeah. So, first things first, let's talk about gallbladders. So you may be like, you know, what's this whole gallbladder thing about, right? So your gallbladder is right under your right rib. So, like, here's your rib cage, right? All right here. And then you've got your stomach right under the microphone. You got your liver over here, and you have your gallbladder kind of right under there. I don't. It's gone. And what the gallbladder does is it holds bile, and it helps you digest fats because the bile breaks down fats. So it holds the extra bile so that if you eat an entire pizza, your gallbladder goes, oh, we're going to need some bile here. And then it shoots it out into your stomach and helps you digest that fat. You don't need a gallbladder, although it is nice to have if you do decide to eat, say, an entire pizza. But if you don't do that, I think they'll probably be okay. So it's a nice organ, but it's also a not nice organ sometimes. So what happens is, you can get stones, you can get gallstones, and what that does is, they just kind of chill in your gallbladder, and every once in a while, they can get lodged in the bile duct. So the little tube that's, you know, it's going to your stomach that's supposed to be like, blue, to shoot out the bile, to your stomach gets lodged with a stone, and it becomes infected or extremely painful, and you can die. So a lot of fun things from that, but that's the main reason for getting it out. So I don't know the details yet, but I take it he had something like that happen, and probably had to get it removed right away. Mine never got lodged in there, but I got it out as like a precautionary thing. You know, I would get irritation. Sometimes it'll like block it for a little bit and then go away. So it doesn't become lodged in there, but it does block it a decent amount and you get some pain or a lot of pain pending. But that's your gallbladder fact of the day here with gastroenterologist Crendor. So I pretty much know all about the gastrointestinal tract at this point, man. it's a fun time. I was saying if like a gastroenterologist had to like go, you know, if they need a substitute doctor that wasn't a real doctor for a day, I could probably do it. I would say don't trust anything I say, but I would be like the homeopathic YouTube doctor, you know what I mean? There's like a whole bunch of those. The doctors that are just like, let me tell you how the body works. And half the time, they're just like practically a Dr. Oz. Essentially, I could be like a Dr. Oz. Who knows? Maybe I will be. Gastrointestinal Oz. Never mind. So, yeah. That's probably what happens. So what happens then is you can't pass these stones. Some people claim you can. I think those are crazy people. The types of people that are like, just drink a gallon of soy sauce and you'll be okay. Like, no. So you need to get it removed, and they used to have to cut you open and then take it out like it's open heart surgery or something. But now, thanks to modern medicine, they just make little holes like doop, 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 and a little incision in your belly button. So when they put you back together, your belly button looks a little wonky, but and then that's where they take the gallbladder out. So the robot arms are like doop, 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 and then and it pulls out your belly button, and then they stitch you up, and you're good to go. Now the hard part of that is you are still getting cut open, right? Like any surgery is gonna take some time to heal. Mine was a little more problematic, as you've probably heard from various things, but some people, it blows my mind. Some people get it done and they're like, I was back at work the next day, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, that's insane to me. I was out of commission at least a week of just being like, you know, like just wanting to heal. I mean, you literally still have a wound. Like, you're still open. It's covered in bandage, obviously, but like still, I don't know. That's just, some people are crazy, or tougher than I am. I don't know. But yeah, you got to give your body time to heal. And so one of the most annoying things in this part of recovery is just coughing, coughing, laughing. Anything where you have to use your core, right? Your abdominals, because they're cutting through your core. Like your belly button's right in the focal point there of your core. So when you cut that, when you cut through that, and you're like, like just try it right now, where you're like, ha, ha, and you put your hands on your belly button, like you can feel your abdomen being like tightening up. So when that's cut and you're like, it's like it's painful, man. That's why I hear some people, they have nausea and vomiting after they have surgery, and I'm like, I couldn't even imagine that. I could barely cough. So that also blew my mind. But so I'm hoping Nixxiom, you're recovering well. And it just takes time. But until then, I'm doing a lot better than I was 2 years ago, I'll tell you that. I can't believe it was almost 2 years ago already. It'll be 2 years in February, because I had it done at the end of February. And the first year or so, it was an experience. My digestive system, I feel like, had to get used to it. And I would get a lot of irritation, which I feel like it was just not digesting fats as well as it used to. And And then after like a year and a half, I don't know what happened, but I just started feeling okay. It's like my body just got used to it. And I asked my aunt who got her gallbladder out, and my grandma got her gallbladder out. So I guess I was just lined up for this. I asked my aunt, I was like, hey, how long did it take you to recover? And she was like, about a year and a half. And it's weird because it literally, like, a year and a half went in, and I felt fine. So, and it's not, like, you still feel good, but it's just your digestive tract feeling fine more than anything. So, back to normal, I guess you could say. If you didn't know, I ate a Popeye's chicken sandwich, and I managed to be okay. So that should tell you something. But anyway, let's talk about wine. So wine. There's various types of wine. Personally, I like red wine the most. I will, however, drink any wine. I'll try it. I've done wine tastings. I took Jesse to a wine tasting. That was fun. So I've tried a lot of wine. I've also been able to try some fancy wines. I would say the most expensive wine I've had was, I think it was at Disneyland. It was either, it might have been with Nick, if you know the guy I play League of Legends with a lot. He was like, dude, let's just get a crazy bottle of wine. He wanted to buy like a $150 bottle of wine. And I was like, sure. Like, we'll split it. You know, we're at Disneyland. We're having a great time. Let's try it. And it was like a Spanish red wine. And it was so smooth. It was, I don't even remember what kind it was. I just think it might have just been a red blend. Which is where they take various different red wines and kind of blend them together and stuff. But it was really good. Second to that, it's probably like maybe like an $80 bottle of wine. I had like a glass of it, so they upcharge you. But sometimes you just go to a restaurant, and instead of getting like a fancy like Mai Tai or a crazy drink, I'm like, you know what? I'll just take one glass of really good wine. And so that's what I like doing. And I actually found out about this wine company that made this wine because I was at a restaurant and they had a wine called The Prisoner. And I was like, all right, I'll try that. And it was a red blend, and it was very good. It was like smooth, tasted good. I was like, ooh, that goes down easy. So this was their Merlot, and it was on sale. And I was like, hey, I'll try it. And so far, so good. I think it tastes great. So let me tell you about the different types of wine. So there's red wine, there's white wine, and those are pretty much the two types of wine. Thank you for listening. But yeah, white wines tend to be sweeter. They tend to be, they have a lot more like apple, lemon, different types of taste. That's another thing. A lot of people talk about the taste of wine. They're like, I'm tasting a cherry, a little bit of leather, but it's just that it has like those flavor. That's the style. It's not like it has actual leather in it, right? It's just that's kind of the smell or taste that it gives off. Because you can smell something and almost taste it. Because taste and smell are tied very strongly together, which is why a lot of times you'll see people be like, really get in there smelling it. So that's just a little thing there. So what I learned how to taste wine is you smell as you drink. So you go, and it helps you taste a lot better. The other thing you do is you do the I do that sometimes as like a goof, but it actually does work. Like, it legit does help you taste the wine. That's why there's videos of like people tasting other things. I think the ice cream guy did that. There's like a meme ice cream thing where he's like, and it's funny, but it's actually working, because when you do that, it helps you kind of like aerate and break down the flavors. So you get a much better, like, feel or taste of what you're drinking. So I'd say, I'd try it, like, legit. The next time you drink something, do that. Like, it doesn't have to be wine. It can be Coca-Cola for all you know. And just, like, smell it. That's one of the reasons they have these big glasses, right? Like, one of the reasons this is a wine glass is because it allows you to be, like, and really get in there and smell it. Because if it's a really small glass, you're like... some white wines have smaller glasses. Every wine actually has a different glass. It's the same with beer. And all the glasses are essentially designed to help you kind of smell and taste the wine to its, like, max extent. So, I actually don't know if this is... I don't think this is a Merlot glass. But I don't really care. It's a red wine glass, and that's good enough for me right now. It's pretty good. The other thing, I haven't even talked about, like, the difference between the wines yet. The other thing is aeration. You might see this a lot, is people, they'll swirl the wine. If you can, they'll swirl the wine like that. A lot of people do it just to be fancy and be like, But really what you're doing is you're kind of, you're aerating the wine. You're oxidizing the wine. And I looked it up, just so the internet can help me not sound as dumb. So when wine, especially young red wines, which is wines that were made within a year or two of opening, are introduced to air, the air joins with the molecules of the wine, softening the tannins and mimicking the aging process. Basically, oxygen breaks down the harsh young tannins and makes them smoother. So it's making the wine taste better. It's making it taste pretty much how it should if it's like the best wine it can be. And that's why I actually use a wine aerator. They have super fancy ones. I have a Lizard, as you would expect of me. And you put it in the wine bottle. I'll show you in a bit if I pour some more wine. And there's a little hole back here, which helps it aerate as you pour, so that you don't have to keep swirling it over and over, because this pretty much helps speed up the aeration process. They have a bunch of different aerators and stuff like that, but that's the one I use because it's a Lizard. So there's also a more advanced explanation. I might as well read it because, you know, we're 18 minutes in, and if you're still here, I doubt you're gonna be leaving. Exposing wine to air does two things. It triggers oxidation and evaporation. Oxidation is what makes an apple turn brown after its skin is broken, and evaporation is the process of liquid turning into vapor. Wine is made up of hundreds of compounds, and with aeration, usually the volatile and undesirable compounds will evaporate faster than the desirable, aromatic, and flavorful ones. There are a few particular compounds that are reduced with aeration, such as sulfites, which are added to wine to prevent oxidation and microbial activity, but can smell like burnt matchsticks. And sulfides, which are naturally occurring but can remind you of rotten eggs or onion skins. Ethanol is also a highly volatile compound, and a wine that smells too much like rubbing alcohol when you first open it might lose the ethanol note and become more expressive, not expensive, with some aeration. They also say you mentioned funnels. Somebody asked them about funnels. You mentioned funnels as a way to aerate wine, but just opening a bottle and pouring a glass will also provide aeration, as will swirling your glass of wine. For more extreme aeration, decanting a wine works well too. After a while, aerated wines begin to oxidize, and the flavors and aromas will flatten out. The more dense and concentrated a wine is, the more it will benefit from aeration, and the longer it can go before beginning to fade. On the other hand, you probably don't want to aerate delicate older wines for long, as you can miss out on their unique aromas, but they're often decanted to remove sediment, which is the, if you've ever seen it, it's that big kind of like, with the like, up at the top. You've probably seen one, maybe, I don't know. So that's pretty much why people aerate their wines. But if you can't just leave the bottle open, otherwise it'll it'll go bad. It's like leaving, you know, anything out. It'll oxidize and go bad. But the initial oxygenation, the oxidizing process is it's good. So that's also why I have this thing. So you like, it always works best when I put it over myself. So you got the little wine thing, you put it over this, and then you just pump the air out of it, so it helps preserve the wine, so that you don't have to drink the entire bottle of wine in one sitting, unless you want to. Typically, I don't want to. I just like having a glass, maybe two, if I'm feeling crazy. In fact, I think the most I've never drank an entire bottle of wine. The most I drank is like 3/4 of a bottle. And I think it was during one of my like Banjo-Kazooie Let's Play mega streams or something. I think that's the most I drank. But still, it's pretty good. A lot of cheap wine. A lot of cheap wine is essentially just like sugar water. So it'll usually taste a lot sweeter. Usually that's wines under $10 are going to typically be like sugar water style wines. If you go over 10, you get better quality. I would say the best price range for like a good wine, like a good quality, like, hey, this is pretty good, is probably like $20 to $30. And then going over that is like you're either rich, you're celebrating something, or it's like a special event. But usually $20 to $30 will get you like a pretty solid wine. So let's talk about the types of wine now. So let me bust open my types of red wine. So there's various types of red wine. Here's the 8 major kinds. There's Cabernet Sauvignon. I remember I would always go to the restaurants when we'd be at BlizzCon and stuff, and TB would always want me to read the wine menu because he enjoyed hearing me try to pronounce the names of the wine. This is also before I knew as much about wine, but I still liked it, so I'd be like, can I get your finest Cabernet Sauvignon, please? And he loved it. In fact, I think he made a Twitter video out of it way back then. So Cabernet is a very tannin-rich wine. A lot of tannins in the wine can actually give you headaches. I've gotten tannin headaches. It's also important you drink a lot of water and stay hydrated with any alcohol, but especially ones that have high tannin counts, which is unfortunate because those are my favorite wines. I love the oaky taste that the tannins provide. They give it a very like barrel oaky heavy taste, and I love it. This wine's just mild in tannins. I could actually tell you the taste of the wine. I will in a second. Build up suspense. When we get to Merlot, I'll actually read it off. Well, I'm gonna taste it before I even read this Merlot thing and see how accurate I am. But I've had Merlots before, so I mean I kind of know it there. Cabernet is the most planted grape in the world. It is a safe yet sophisticated bet to order at just about any meal to please the whole group. While California cabs can be a bit fruitier, French cabs a bit more herbal, a glass is always interesting to drink as you look for notes of cherries and currants, as well as spices. It's great to drink with just about any meat, especially fatty meats, which is not good if you don't have a gallbladder, until you get better at digesting those again. So things like burgers, short ribs, lamb, pretty much any type of red meat is good with a Cabernet. Next up, we have a Merlot. So, right now, if I taste this Merlot, right?
You're in trouble now.
That was not expected. I guess we're in the tavern, so that succubus was saying that. You definitely get like a jam type of taste. It's like a berry, like blackberries, blueberries, raspberries. It's a very like jammy type of wine. Like if you put jam on toast or jelly or anything like that, it has that type of flavor to it. But it also has a nice aftertaste of the tannins, right? Like you get the ending of the wine and you get that kind of dry, almost tobacco-y aftertaste to it, and you get a nice little like oaky flavor. So I really like Merlots. Merlots are a really nice balanced wine, I think. A balanced red wine, at least. Because there's certain red wines where some people drink it and be like, like it's just really dry. I like those a lot, though. And some are very fruity and light. A Pinot Noir is typically a really light red wine. I really like Pinot Noir as well. But sometimes you just want like you want something to be like, yeah, that's a red wine. Merlot is the second most planted grape, and it's a great entry point for someone trying to get into red wine. Look at that. I knew it before I even read the thing. The wine is really easy to drink, meaning it's fruity and yummy and won't make your mouth pucker up with tannins. Great to drink with poultry like chicken or duck. Yeah, see that. Next up, we have Zinfandel. A lot of people really like Zinfandels. For some reason, the marketing campaigns of the 90s, Zinfandels are often associated with moms. Which is okay. Moms are great, and they have awesome taste. I don't know about that. Moms are great, but awesome taste? Well, probably depends on the mom. Actually, it depends on what they have taste in. Honestly, it goes person to person. Some people have great taste in specific things. Like, for example, I think I have pretty good taste in wine, but I have very bad taste in a lot of other things. Like video games. So you can have great taste in some things and bad taste in others. Then again, moms might drink a lot of wine, so maybe they know a lot about wine. I don't know. What am I talking about? Moms are great and they have awesome taste. Zinfandel is an interesting wine because the taste can really vary based on where it's grown, though it's usually nice and juicy and high in alcohol content. Imagine juicy, spicy strawberries that get you smashed. I can see that. I've only had Zinfandel a few times, actually. I haven't had it a whole lot, but it definitely has a very, like, strawberry taste to it. It's interesting because you can taste different styles of berries in it. I don't even think they have the berries in the wine. I think it just has the flavor of that. It's great with things like pork ribs, pizza, and pasta dishes. Ooh, that's like Heartburn City right there. Next up, we have a Syrah Shiraz. A Petite Syrah, I believe is how it is called. I've had that on stream, and I had many people be like, I called it a Syrah, and they're like, Crendor, it's a Syrah. Sorry. I am sorry, I didn't know. Called Syrah in France and other European countries, and a Shiraz in Australia. South America and elsewhere, this wine is just plain fun to sip on. It can be peppery, spicy, and bold with the flavor of rich fruits like blackberry. Break this one out after a long day when you want to sit with a book and a glass of wine and really taste something. Drink with a charcuterie plate because it'll play off all the salt and spice and subtle flavors in the cheese and meats. Oh, it's like it's one of those big platters with like a big wooden platter. They put like the meats and the cheeses on. I see. Yeah, that seems right. It's a Syrah is a very, very tanniny wine. Like Cabernet, I would say, okay, so like a Pinot Noir is like down here in terms of tannins. I would say a Merlot's like here. A Cabernet's like here. A Syrah is probably like here. Then there's like some super barrel wines that are like way up there, but Syrah is like a pretty high tanniny wine. So it's kind of like a Cabernet where it has a very bold, rich, dry flavor. And I like it a lot, but it can give you headaches again. Next up, we have a Malbec. I always get Malbec and Merlot confused. Though it's French in origin, most of the world's Malbec is now produced in Argentina. So you may often see that country on its label. It's another easy drinking wine with a deep purple color, plum or cherry flavors, ending in a hint of smoke. It's another crowd pleaser. So honestly, they kind of sound the same and they kind of taste similar. They have that kind of smoky ending, but I think instead of a berry taste, they have a more, like it says, a plum or a cherry taste. So you get that initial hit of the plums or cherries in a Malbec. Well, with this, you definitely taste more of the berries, like a blackberry or a blueberry. Maybe a little raspberry. Next up, we have Pinot Noir. Among the lightest and most delicate wines. Hey, I was right again. Pinot Noir won't punch you in the face like some reds can. Please, don't punch me, red wine. It has a light body in the lingo and feels silky to the tongue. You might taste bright berries like raspberry and cranberry. That's very true. Drink with sushi or salmon. Yes, you can drink red wine with fish. That's true. It's probably the lightest, one of the lightest red wines, so it's definitely fine to drink with things like sushi or salmon. And when I say it's fine to drink with, it's not like, why are you drinking that with that? It doesn't make any sense. But it's a very nice complementary thing to drink with what you're eating. So when they have wine pairings, it's like the wine is a nice contrast to what you're eating, if that makes sense. It's the same way. It's kind of like if you look at it like a color wheel. You know, it's like how green and red, they're like the opposite sides, so they like pair well together, right? So it's like how you have sweet and bitter. So it's like how somebody has coffee when they have like candy or cake or sugar, like any type of thing. You want that coffee, that bitterness to kind of balance it out. So that's kind of what the wine pairing is it just complements whatever you're eating, and it complements it. I'm trying to like over explain it. It complements whatever you're eating. So there's that one. Then there's Sangiovese. I don't even know if I've ever had this one. Sangiovese is the biggest red grape in Italy, and it is associated with Tuscany, specifically Chianti. I've actually had a Tuscan wine, so I've probably had this. It was pretty good. Here's the wine will do weird things to your mouth. Uh-oh. As the acids will make it water, and the tannins will stick to the sides. You might also taste tobacco, soil, and pepper. Ooh. I think I have had that, because I've had Tuscan wines, so I probably have, and I just didn't know that's what it was called. And finally, we have a Nebbiolo. Sounds like a Star Wars character. Another Italian favorite. Nebbiolo also has strong tannins and tons of acid. It's a tricky wine, as the light color bellies the insane flavor coming to smash you. It's grown in northern Italy, and the grape behind the infamous Barolo and the Barbaresco. The flavors of this wine get more interesting and complex as it ages, which is why it's a great one to splurge on and then save for a special occasion. It's great with gamey, fatty meats like wild boar, goose, duck, pork shank. Interesting. Basically, it's what you would drink if you just won a battle in the Middle Ages and were enjoying a celebratory feast. Huh. That might be a perfect, like, Nixxiom wine, actually. I could see Nixxiom winning a battle in the Middle Ages and having, like, a wild boar and some Nebbiolo. So, I kind of want to try that one now. I don't think I've ever had that. I'm going to write that down. Nebbiolo. I can review it in another video or on a stream or something. And those are all the red wines. And I'm more of a red wine person. Running out here. So I'm going to do a little white wine review now. It won't be as long because I don't know as much about white wines. Although I have tried a lot of white wine. So this is what we do. When you want to drink more. So you do a little... It kind of like it does a little letting out the air. And then you just bloop. Take that out. I put in my little lizard aerator here. Like this. Make sure it's in there so it's not leaking out. He's ready to go. And now watch the magic happen. He vomits that wine into the cup. There we go. don't want a whole lot more because, there we go. But just enough. Nice. And then just put it back in. And you just kind of pump the air out of it. Personally, I just do this. Some people like go crazy pumping it. Somebody's already gonna make the joke. You know, that's fine. Hey, there you go. You hit that point where it's kind of hard to pump it. That can also be a joke. And that's it. And then you just let it aerate a little more. Let it spin. And you're good to go. So anyway, white wines. There's Chardonnay. So, Chardonnay. Hold on. This website's bad. Here we go. Chardonnay. Chardonnay is the world's most planted white grape and is found throughout the world. Popular regions that produce outstanding Chardonnay wines include Burgundy, Champagne, and Russian River and Carneros in California. Chardonnay is a full-bodied white wine. When grown in cool climates such as Champagne and the Chablis, Chardonnay is a medium to light and high acidic wine with steely minerality. I feel like it's like there's so many things it's telling you right here. And expresses flavors of apple and pear. That's true. A lot of white wines have very fruity flavors like apple, pear, lemon, a lot of like citrus flavors, herb like flowers. They actually have like a flower or honey taste. So it just depends what type of flavors you enjoy, and then you could kind of give somebody a wine recommendation. Let's see. In moderate climates, it expresses more citrus, melon, and peach flavors. You may enjoy rich, toasty, nutty flavors or buttery, creamy notes in an oaked Chardonnay, or the fresh, fruit-forward profile of an unoaked choice fermented in stainless steel. It's a lot of different Chardonnays. Honestly, I'm not a big Chardonnay person. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm just not a big Chardonnay person. No, I don't want $5 off my next cup of wine. Pair with a chicken Kiev, freshly baked quiche, or grilled marinated shrimp. Next is Sauvignon Blanc. It's planted in Bordeaux, the Loire Valley, New Zealand, California, Southern Africa, Chile, and many other regions of the world. It's a light-bodied white wine that's fruit-forward with plenty of acidity and medium amounts of alcohol. Every region offers a different profile when grown in cool or moderate climates, such as the Marlborough, New Zealand. You may find high acidity, green, herbaceous flavors, and new fruit notes such as passion fruit or elderflower. Notes of peaches and grapefruit are also found in Sauvignon Blanc wines from grapes grown in northern coast of California. Then there's it says pair with crab cakes, Japanese fare, or grilled trout. So it's pretty much good with like chicken and fish. It's like usually what white wines are best paired with. A Riesling, I'm gonna tell you right now, Riesling is like if you are drinking wine for the first time, or like alcohol for the first time, you probably would drink a Riesling. It's very sweet, and I really don't like sweet wines, so I'm not a big Riesling fan, but you know, to each their own. This fruity aromatic wine is cultivated predominantly in the Mosel, Rheingau, Pfalz areas of Germany, the Wachau in Austria, Alsace, France, and the Clare and Eden Valleys in Australia. I can say those. And the Finger Lakes region of New York, where both dry and sweet examples are produced. It can range from dry to sweet, thanks to its ability to ripen late and grow in a variety of climates. Pair sweet Riesling with any Asian food, such as spicy Thai or sushi, southern fare, or your favorite pulled pork sandwich. A bone-dry style will complement chicken, halibut stew, or fresh seafood. Another common one you might see is Pinot Grigio. I don't know if I had a lot of Pinot Grigio. Winemakers from the Trentino or Friuli regions of Italy produce consistently outstanding Pinot Grigio, though you can find wonderful choices from the United States, Germany, and even Australia. It's a fresh, dry wine that's light-bodied. Uh-oh, we just went to winter spring. Let me turn it back. There we go. By the way, all these background noises available on the Goodnight Crendor channel. That's right, Goodnight Crendor on YouTube. That's my ASMR channel. Open a bottle of Pinot Grigio, pair of spaghetti carbonara, white cheese, chicken lasagna, or your favorite light seafood dish. I didn't even read how it tastes. Pinot Grigio is a fresh, dry wine, light in body, moderate fruit and acidity. You'll discover citrus and salty sea breeze notes. Salty sea breeze? In a Pinot Grigio from northern Italy, and flavors of yellow apple lemon in those from the United States or Australia. I want to taste a salty sea breeze. You kidding me? I want to know what that tastes like. Because I don't think I've ever had anything where I'm like, you know, definitely getting a salty sea breeze. I don't know. It's just like, you know, that's the thing is I think people, wine tasting especially can be a very douchey thing. Which is why I kind of just make it funny. Like, I enjoy it, but I realize how it can be very douchey because of, you know, being like, it's not aerated enough, you know what I mean? So, like, I think it's funny just be like, I'm getting hints of a mid-January snowfall. Maybe with a 3-day aged snow that's been driven through by numerous vehicles. I'm getting the exhaust fumes and slight pollution. That really adds to the flavor. You know? So I mean, but that's pretty much wine. I also like beer, and I like coffee. Those are the other two things I really like tasting. Different types of coffee, different types of beer. But wine is probably my favorite one still. I really like wine. I'm not a big hard alcohol person, actually. I've had hard alcohols. Obviously, occasionally I'll get like a mixed drink or something, like if it's like a margarita at like a Mexican restaurant or something or whatever. But for the most part, I just try wine and beer. But I think that's probably a good enough place to stop here. It's about 43 minutes in. Many of you have probably fallen asleep. Some of you have probably clicked off, being like, I really don't care about wine. And some people probably listened all the way to this point, and you're like, wow, I learned about wine today. And hopefully Nixxiom is still listening, or maybe he fall asleep and maybe he fell asleep and he's just resting and healing up. So either way, I hope you get better. And I know what you're going through, and don't worry. Soon you'll be back in the gym, getting swole like me. Honestly, like getting my gallbladder out. Without getting my gallbladder out, I wouldn't even be going to the gym. So it's one of those things that's very bittersweet, almost like this wine. You know, it's one of those things where they always say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and it's very true. You know, without having that happen, I also had my toenails removed as well, but they grew back, and that was just the icing on the cake. That was like the thing that just pushed me over the edge of being like, all right, I gotta start getting healthy, right? Because, you know, a lot of people I think go years and years. And they ignore their health. They don't care about their health, and just so many things pushed me to care more about my health. And I think just a combination of, you know, things like TB, you know, all the things that happened with TB and him passing away, and then getting my gallbladder out, getting high blood pressure, and my family's history of high blood pressure. The toenail thing, like so many things built up, and I was like, you know, I really need to focus more on being healthy and watching what I eat and, you know, everything in moderation and actually partaking in physical activity multiple times a week. And it feels great. You know, I feel better than I did when I was 28. Yeah, I feel better at 30 than I did at 28. So I'm hoping to continue that trend of feeling better as I get older rather than falling apart. And I think doing things like looking after yourself and going to the gym, you know, consistently and not just doing it for New Year's or the holidays and then not going anymore is important for that. And honestly, once you go for a few weeks, you get in the groove, you get in the pattern, then it just becomes routine. You know, it becomes routine like anything else. So I'd say overall, I'm kind of happy I got my gallbladder out, as weird as that is, because it helped. It definitely helped me go in the right direction. As somebody who used to be like, I could eat whatever I want. I'm skinny. I don't care. You know, that type of thing. And then you realize, even though you can be, you know, super fast metabolism and skinny and look healthy, on the inside, you're falling apart. So you gotta look after the inside and the outside, man. And that's that. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Again, if you want some ASMR, good night, Crendor. I'm probably gonna start uploading some more stuff over there. I do like ambient background noise, me talking like this, where I just stay in my monotone voice the whole time. And yeah, also, Crensloth sweatpants are back, and they're flying off the shelves. They're not, because they're pre-orders, so they're literally not made yet. But we're taking pre-orders, and they're very soft. Link to that below. And again, get better, Nixxiom. You will get better, because so your body does, it heals. So, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. Okay? Okay. Clang. See ya.